So my name is Gunny and I'm 27 years old. Originally from Norway, but as of 2022, I'm also an Australian. I love anything training, nature, baking, coffees, delicious coffees, and nutritious and yummy foods. Growing up, I actually wanted to be a builder or a baker. I wanted to build houses. That was my big dream. It's been a big turn of events to ending up in fitness and health. So my mum and dad always wanted me to have all doors open, so they wanted me to finish uni with like a science degree. So that's why I didn't go straight into building really. So I did that, and then I had an eating disorder, and in recovering from that, I think I just naturally got a bit into fitness and health, trying to recover from that myself. So my biggest goals are to help people find joy in their health journey, really. It's very sad to say, but I feel like being healthy today is actually pretty hard, especially in the first world countries where you have so much, you have the access to so much food and opportunities, and you can kind of succeed in whatever you set your mind to. But I feel like it's ended up with people getting burnt out and eating super accessible foods that maybe aren't the best for you. So it's kind of doing the opposite to then our health.
Så da har vi kommet til Skullerud sportssenter, som det aller første treningssenteret som jeg startet å trene på. Så det på en måte her styrkekarrieren min startet egentlig. Jeg jobbet også i resepsjonen her en stund, og fikk min aller første PT-jobb her. Veldig, veldig stor del av treningsjourneyen min egentlig.
I always loved sports. I did numerous sports growing up, and I pretty much tried everything. But tennis, soccer, and I think it's called floorboard in English. It's more of a sport in Scandinavia, but they were my big three. And I quickly just fell in love with the feeling of being strong and just everything around me feeling lighter, really. It's addictive, like being strong is addictive, and the same with fitness. Like as soon as you've felt how it is to be fit, you never want to feel unfit. So yeah, that's kind of, that addiction just led me into loving training, really. I keep coming back to CrossFit and weightlifting. Those are the most fun, so those are my biggest passions in training at the moment. And in health, I'd have to say gut health and hormone health. I feel like if you have a bad gut health, you have bad hormone health, and you have bad health overall. So those are my biggest passions. Training has also helped my mental health massively. Like it's science, we get those feel-good hormones after training, so it definitely changes your mood on a daily basis when you do it. You get your training session done in the morning, you feel like, okay, well I've done that, I can do anything else today, and then the next task will be better, and then you just generally feel better in life with your achievements, and by the end of the day you feel like you're on top of the world.
For det veldig mye mentalitet i trening, så hvis det det som forskjellen, liksom en økt med hvordan du føler deg resten av uka. Da blir det liksom sånn, shit, jeg klarte ikke den 4., og så føler du deg dritdårlig, men egentlig så har du trent 3 skikkelig bra økter. Så det ødelegger veldig den der mentaliteten til å ville fortsette, da. Og det kan jo gi motivasjon også. Så det er veldig viktig å finne et realistisk mål. Så da jeg begynte å trene, så hadde jeg jo mindre peiling på trening. Så da synes jeg det var vanskeligere å bare gå inn i styrkesalen og prøve å gjøre en styrkeøkt, for jeg visste jo ingenting. Så da var det veldig mye lettere for meg å dra på gruppetiner. Da var det bare å møte opp og få en økt. Så det hjalp meg veldig med motivasjonen da. Og så var det egentlig å begynne å trene med min egen personlig trener for å lære mer om hvordan å bevege seg riktig i styrkesalen og få litt selvtillit der, som egentlig var, det synes jeg alle burde gjøre, for jeg merker det er veldig mange som har den der frykten for å gå inn i styrkesalen, spesielt jenter, men kanskje litt alle, og det hjelper så sykt å bare vite og ha lært litt.
Thinking about my goals in fitness now, and this might be a boring one, but for this year it's to improve pelvic floor strength, because I really want to prepare that for having babies, hopefully soon. So that is my biggest goal for the year. And depending on when that happens, whenever I get blessed with a pregnancy, I am just wanting to get back to peak strength, which I reached before my last pregnancy. So I really want to get back there and even get some all-time PBs on my main lifts would be fun. But then overall, always my biggest goal in fitness is to stay injury-free. I know that also sounds pretty boring, but I'm not willing to sacrifice my health and feeling pain-free for training. So I always train in a way that makes me feel strong and healthy and, yeah, as I said, pain-free. So I've had 2, I would say, are the biggest challenges that I've faced. The first was I had an eating disorder in middle school when I was 15. And then the more recent one is that I went through a miscarriage last year. So yeah, those are the biggest challenges I've faced. So in middle school, I went through the first big challenge in my life, the eating disorder. So yeah, it's all kind of a bit of a blur to me, but I'll try and tell the story. I remember in hitting puberty and getting a little bit more forms, I think I kind of got forms in the right places and I got a few comments on that. And so I think it just instilled something in me that, okay, looking a certain way will get attention in the right way. And so that kind of it just instilled this belief that I was more worth looking a certain way. So I think that just made me manipulate food to control how I looked. I don't actually remember what went on in my life at the time, but I remember going to, it was like a Christian community camp, which I loved. I went there every year, but I remember this one over Christmas and New Year's. And I just felt like I ate too much on this camp, and it went to my head so much that I had to leave the camp early because it was so dark for me. So I went home, and from there, so that was December, and by end of February, I had lost a quarter of my weight, and I actually stopped eating. Yeah, I just got really scared of calories. So I stopped eating, and after 6 days of no eating, I was admitted to hospital. That turned into a 6-week stay in hospital, which, yeah, it saved my life.
So I found my journal from the hospital when I was sick, and I wrote in this every single day for most of my time in hospital, so the full 6 weeks and a little bit after. And it's heavy. It's like reading, like listening to someone else, because I just don't recognize this as me, these thoughts that I'm putting down, and just how I'm describing food. Like my last meal before hospital, for example, a week before was 2 carrots, 1 capsicum and a bit of chicken. And of course I managed to eat it all. Like, oh my God. Yeah, that was so crazy. And I was blaming myself so much for eating that whole meal, all those calories. It's insane. And just the weight I got down to. I've forgotten that as well. How I felt playing tennis. And just how dizzy I was all the time. I do actually remember that after reading that. But then like the comments that ingrained in me that made me focus more about how I looked, like it's kind of a blur where I got that from, but I did actually get some comments about my looks and that I needed to manipulate that to be liked by boys, by one of my closest friends. Like, that's insane. I really feel sorry for little Gunny, who had to hear that and believe that, or make that a belief that that was true. Yeah, it's I think even the hardest thing is reading how upset my family was and the stuff that I shared with my family that I didn't want to live, and writing here that they started crying. Yeah, makes me feel really sad for my family that they had to go through that too.
The other thing that I remember from hospital is, of course, I was there for 6 weeks, so I had to go to school there to stay up to date with what we learnt in school. But it was kind of nice. We also got to do fun stuff. So we got to paint, which I love. And I painted this painting. So this is the painting that I painted in hospital. And there's a bit going on in my brain when I painted this. I think the theme is pretty obvious, but I learnt an Italian word when I was in hospital. I learnt the word I, which is I-O. I don't know how I pronounce it, but io, maybe. It means I or me. So that is kind of like the eaten apple is the I and the full apple is the O. The eaten apple with the black background is pretty much how I felt at the time, like just dark, skinny, little, lacking energy, feeling pretty dead, to be honest. And then the full apple is kind of like vibrant, lots of colors, just looking healthy, like I wanted to feel in the future. So it was kind of like current me, how I felt at the time, versus future me and where I wanted to end up. anyone having gone through an eating disorder or even know someone with an eating disorder would know that it's not a speedy process. It was a long way from being discharged from hospital to where I am today. And I've been on both sides, so I have people close to me who have gone through the same as well. So I know the pain of going through it, and I know the pain of being that person having to watch someone going through an eating disorder, because it's so sad, because you just lose your personality. And watching someone struggle with that is probably almost harder than having an eating disorder yourself. But I think, yeah, it's been so great for the profession I've ended up in today to have that experience of going through it and also being that person watching someone else, because then I can help both people. So yeah, it's as hard as it was probably the hardest period of my life. But that's what they say, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. I was planning to stay in Oslo for the rest of my life. I never wanted to leave the known. That was kind of scary. So I actually have no clue what went on in my brain. But after high school, when I got a bit interested in fitness and that, I thought, I really want to do my PT certs. And for some reason, I wanted to do it somewhere else that wasn't in Norway. So pretty much everything about Australia scared me, but I decided to go. I remember thinking it's only this many weeks until mid-semester break, and then you got this many weeks left, and then you get to go home, like you'll be fine. And then, yeah, one day in and I was just like, holy shit, this place is amazing. Obviously the weather, it's so nice. Living by the beach. It was just I just got goosebumps thinking about it. I just felt like, wow, I feel so happy here. So after the 4 months in Australia, the first time I realized, like, damn, I'm pretty brave, I'm pretty independent, and I freaking loved it. So that's kind of when my shell opened fully, I think, and I wasn't scared. I felt like, yeah, I know I could just make friends wherever and make it work, and the freedom of that was just incredible.
Are you serious? Congratulations.
Bro.
We were super lucky to fall pregnant in the beginning of August. And to be honest, up until then, I kind of felt I always wanted kids. I really want kids, and I knew that, but I was in no rush last year. I always said we need to wait until I finished my degree. I need to be done with uni and preferably have a job first and all that stuff. But then it was like three months left of uni, so we're like, okay. I think I might have endometriosis, so I wasn't sure if would fall pregnant easily. So we thought, okay, we'll stop not trying. And then first go, we fell pregnant. So when I found out, it was actually a bit of a shock. And the first thought in my mind was like, no, it's such bad timing. Like I was just about to finish my degree. I needed to start, like my career is just starting now. It's so exciting. But then the next second I was like, holy shit, I'm growing a baby. That just became my #1 priority, and just like, I'm gonna be a mum. Like, wow, what a blessing. From that point, I went, that's when I went all in with my business. And we made it to the 12 weeks, which was great. And we could tell all our close friends and family, which was so bloody exciting. And then a week later, I miscarried. It was probably just as hard as the eating disorder. I know I said that was the hardest thing I've ever gone through, but I think this was, if not worse, just as bad. And I've lost people close to me and cried and been sad over that, but I've not experienced grief in the same way as I did with the miscarriage. And I feel like, I think it was a few reasons why. I've heard of miscarriage, but not a lot. I didn't know how many people actually, like 1 in 4 people or women miscarry, which is crazy to me. I'm just like, whoa, like why haven't I heard more about it? So I think it was just that I wasn't prepared for that opportunity at all. Like we just went all in with the pregnancy, planning out the whole pregnancy and when things were going to happen. My mum and dad were going to come to Australia for birth and all of that. So that opportunity just wasn't a thing in my head. And I didn't also realize, because it's not a baby at 13 weeks, it's not technically a baby. So like people who aren't pregnant might think of it as like, okay, well it's just a fetus or whatever, embryo, whatever it is. But when you've grown a baby for 13 weeks, I was so tired, so sick. You go through all that, the physical change. I knew it was a boy. That's the other thing. If we pictured all the things that we were going to do with this boy, we had a name in mind. All these things just made it like our son. And so when we lost that, it was just, yeah, it was heartbreaking, and it was the hardest thing that we've had to go through together, like me and Josh. So I had a little bit of bleeding up until the miscarriage, which is super normal. Like so many people in pregnancies bleed a little bit. So I did I went and got that checked, and baby was happy and dancing around in there. But they had said that bleeding is fine until it becomes clots and cramps. And then so I was 12 weeks and a little bit, and I got gastro. I was vomiting for a whole day. And so I was drained and laying down for the next 2 days. I didn't leave bed pretty much. And then, so the 3rd day I started feeling a little bit of back pain, and like kind of like I get before period cramps. And so I was like, oh, like I didn't feel good about it, but then I thought, oh, I've been laying in bed for 3 days, like I probably just back pain from that. And I tried stretching a bit and like thought I kind of felt better, and then I went to bed, and then I woke up probably 2 a.m. And I felt like this feels a bit like cramps, but I just did not want to accept it, because you get a bit of discomfort in the pelvic area in pregnancies, like naturally. So I was just like, this is probably just bloat or something. and kind of just forced myself to sleep again. Woke up at 4 again, and I remember just feeling like, no, this is cramps. A part of me didn't want to accept it, but I knew then. I wasn't gonna cry. Yeah, so I knew then, and I had to go into Josh, and I remember, because it was in the middle of the night, it was just like, it felt like a nightmare, just like wake me up. And I went into Josh and I woke him up crying, obviously, and I said, he's like, what's going on? And I was like, I have clots and cramps. I remember saying like wake me up from this nightmare, please. And then he called hospital to ask about the situation, and they offered to pick me up in an ambulance, because I think obviously for some people it happens pretty quickly. But we drove into emergency. And it was like dull cramps still, so I think that's kind of like where my hope was still there a little bit. We waited in the waiting room for a while. We made it down to the ultrasound, and then as they were pushing, I felt stuff coming out of me. It was so painful. And seeing, we'd been scared when I was bleeding and going to ultrasounds, being so nervous, and seeing that baby there, and then that relief, and then coming there and just seeing the empty space rather than the baby, that was really hard. But also, like, thinking back at it now, I'm just like, that was also so beautiful, because it was when like Josh broke down and we were like super sad together and just holding hands, and just like, even though that was the worst thing we went through, we've never been closer than that. And like, like I said, we've never gone through something so heartbreaking together. I think of that, and I think that's kind of, it was a bit beautiful in that sense. And then after, when they had to take the sack out of me as well, just how close I felt to Josh during that, and the support and everything, that was so beautiful, and a turning point for our relationship, I think. So I've never seen Josh cry until the wedding. That was the first single tear. So that was another thing, seeing him cry over this little boy that we lost was just, so beautiful, and just made me feel so much closer to him. The day after the miscarriage, we decided to go away for the weekend, because it happened on a Thursday. We went away on the Friday, just to heal, just the two of us. And we cried so much together over that weekend, and that was also really bonding and made us feel so much closer. I've never seen him struggle like that, and obviously he's done some crazy shit in his life and had his struggles with that, but he's just a really strong personality. I've never seen him like that, so it brought me closer to him in that sense. And just the fact that I've never grieved like that, I've also never received that same support, and because every day I needed to cry, and sometimes he can be, if I'm crying about something, he can be a bit like, like, okay, well, let's look for the positives. Like, how can we feel a bit better? But in this situation, it was just like, yeah, this sucks. Like, and he was just like, you're allowed to cry. Like, this, just get it out. And he was so supportive and just there for me through all of that. So, yeah, never ever felt closer with him, which is crazy because I felt like we were so close before, and I'm like, you can't get closer than this, and then something like that happens, and yeah, it just brings you even closer, which was incredible. Sharing the situation with my friends really helped me heal, and I think like anyone going through a miscarriage or anything similar, like I highly recommend just talk to people about it and get that support, because I think it's crucial in the healing process. The other important thing is to let yourself grieve and feel whatever that you feel. Like I mentioned earlier as well, like whatever you feel inside, if you just put a lid on, it'll grow and you'll explode. So let that out. I remember I put away time every single night just to feel whatever I wanted to feel. And for the first few weeks, that was sobbing every night. But that was fine. Like, I knew you'd gone through something really hard, and you were allowed to feel this way. So just relieving that every single night was what I needed, and I think that really helps people move on from it. So that's also what I recommend. And also just accepting that it takes time. Like, I remember I was really good doing that the first few weeks, and then I kind of set this expectation to myself, like, okay, well, it's been a while now, so you're probably fine. And so then when I would still get upset, or like, for example, the first time I had my first period back, that was like reliving it again. And then I was like, I was disappointed that I wasn't okay with it, and then I got more upset because of that. So it just became super dramatic. So I think just understanding that pain will never go away, and you will always have to let those feelings out whenever they come up. That's not going to stop. The frequency will be less, but it doesn't stop. So accepting that and just being kind to yourself and knowing that you need to let those feelings out, maybe for the rest of your life, and that's okay. So after trying to do personal training myself after group coaching, I knew straight away that this is what I want to do. I loved being my own boss and having that freedom, just freedom of working whenever and wherever you want, and just thinking about like I can combine this with going to Norway whenever I want and seeing my family and friends over there. So that's when I knew you need to create a business that's going to work financially, because this is the lifestyle that you want to have. The nutrition advice out there today obviously is so confusing, but especially for performance versus health, I feel like there's often one specific diet, like loads of carbs, recommended for performance, and then maybe not so much carbs and many, like maybe lower carb even for health. So I want to help people find a diet that can achieve both, because I don't think that you have to pick one or the other. I think you can perform really well and still take care of your health. I don't think you have to sacrifice health, and that's really important in my own life. Like, I really want to take training as far as I can, but I would never sacrifice my health for it. So I think, I really want to promote that and help other people find their individual diet that helps them achieve both, like not having to pick performance and health, but optimizing both of them. My vision with the business is obviously to help people be healthy, but more so achieve optimal performance without sacrificing health. And I want to do this globally, like not just in Australia. Like I have clients in Norway and Australia now, but I want to reach more countries. I want to help as many as possible feel like they can feel their best and perform. When I say performance as well, I don't mean just in the gym. I mean in life. Like you're not restricted with how you want to play with your kids or your grandkids. Like you feel like you can perform physically and at work mentally while also having optimal health. So I think a lot of people will benefit from working with me because of my knowledge and everything I've learned from my uni degrees and certificates, but more so because of my experience. Like I've really done it the wrong way, and I've learned from that, so I can take that hard lesson learnt for people. But having that experience, I think, makes you just understand the struggles even more. I used to think that healthy equals boring, but I've really learned that that's not true, and I have so much fun with knowing how to eat and train the right way. So I really think that's contagious. Like I think I can make it fun and enjoyable for other people as well. I'm very proud to say that I have a very personalised approach. Like I've never written the same training program or nutrition plan for two people. Like generalised programs is a great lower tier option for money as a business owner. And that's great for people who don't want to invest as much, but like we don't live, digest, metabolize, train, respond to stress or like foods the same as any other person. So it just makes no sense that if your goal is to reach optimal health and performance, you shouldn't be eating like anyone else. So therefore it's really important to me to find that personal diet and training program. My plan moving forward with the business is this year I want to work with as many people I can one-on-one. And then I also want to develop some more courses online because I see people and even though there's obviously that personalised approach, but there are many topics that people, like issues that many people struggle with, that I can create something so that people can just log on and watch that instead of working with me one-on-one or before working with me one-on-one. So that's something I really want to do. And I also want to put out a lot of tips and stuff for free for people on Instagram and my website and social media. So following me on those platforms and especially joining my email list, you'll get a lot of updates that way.
So after a long career in rugby, I got into CrossFit in mid-2021. And after about 18 months, mostly spent figuring out the sport myself, I was looking around for a coach to help me refine and improve my Olympic lifting and gymnastics movements. Conveniently, around this time, I met Gunny at a gym I was training at. And very quickly, after I started working with Gunny on these specific movements I wanted help with, I realised her coaching was at a level I hadn't experienced before. And her coaching was having repeated, significant, noticeable impact on both my movement patterns and my injury relief and prevention. She is extraordinarily good at what she does, and I can see myself working with her for a long time to come.
Du tar det.
Skal jeg sette den på da?
Teppe? Ja.
Nå. Bollefjes.
Matpause.
Alltid vært glad i mat. Kommentarene er jo det beste.
Dette fra når?
Dette fra jeg var 1 år. Så bodde vi i York. For pappa studerte i York 1 år.
Jeg lærte mitt første engelskord i York.
Og hva var det?
Det var thank you. Ifølge pappa så var det med perfect. Det var når du går av på bussen i England, så sier du takk når du går.
Ja, riktig.
Da jeg gikk av, så var jeg sånn, thank you. Jeg har alltid vært en kunstner.
Det er kult at jeg lager litt sånn interactive album.
Ja, jeg synes jo det er kjempefint. Jeg har lyst til å gjøre det selv med liksom minner, fordi ja, vi har alt digitalt nå, men dette her er jo så mye koseligere.
Ja.
Ja? Det var startet tidlig.
Ja.
Det var derfor jeg var flinkere enn deg i keyboardgruppen. Jeg var jo ikke det. Tror det var det, ja.
Nice. Bra jobba.
Takk. Det var koselig.
Hello, so I'm back in Oz with Bom Bom. Say hi, boy. Hi. And I'm doing some reflection. Oh, and Theo. Hey. All my babies. And I'm doing some reflection on the whole documentary with you. I had so much fun. Yeah, when you first asked me, I had no doubt that I wanted to do it. I got really, really excited by it. But it was still something completely new that I've never done before. So the whole experience was great for me in that. Built more confidence in front of the camera in terms of, just talking in front of the camera, which will be so useful for my business. I think my favorite thing about the whole experience was just reflecting on my whole story. I feel like it's so easy to think forward and like the next challenge, but forgetting to reflect on how much you've achieved, and that was a really great opportunity for me to reflect. Obviously super vulnerable, talking about my whole story and everything that I've gone through, but it was just great because you and I have known each other since, God, I can't even remember, but so long, so I feel so comfortable with you. So I think that made it a great share as well. It was obviously very hard talking about some of the things that we spoke about, especially the miscarriage, because it was so fresh, or is so fresh in my memory, and the trauma is so fresh. So it was challenging, but still felt great because I knew that maybe someone will feel less lonely listening to it. Just the fact that it was a bigger project and that we were filming over like 3 or 4 days or whatever we were. I love just working on something a little bit bigger, and we had so much fun together filming it. So I'm really, really excited to see how it turns out. The other great thing I took away from the experience of filming the documentary with you was just understanding that I love doing that kind of stuff, that I actually really like talking, sharing experiences and education, but this was more of like an experience story kind of share. I love doing that in front of people, and knowing that the documentary will be seen by people, and the fact that you gave me feedback that I was all right at doing that. It was just, it was great for me to hear, and gave me a bit of more confidence to continue doing